Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, and we are going to be doing some wrapping up of some things we've been talking about, and I've got some more fun stuff we're going to do. We're actually going to make some little booklets that we can put the information that we've been talking about this week into those books to have something to look back on. I know that my kids loved to do that. When we would learn something, we put it in a little booklet. They could flip back through that booklet, and then they would have that to remember and better remember the information. Plus, you can take photos and all kinds of stuff to add to those. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I wanted to do a recap of what's going on with our egg. So if you remember, we took an egg. We were talking about osmosis. And we took our raw egg, removed the shell by soaking it overnight in vinegar solution. Then we put it in a syrup, which was much more concentrated of solutes inside than outside. And the water went into the egg, or out of the egg, and actually made it more shriveled. And so now we are going to, we soaked it overnight in water. Which means the concentration of materials inside the egg was greater than the concentration of materials outside the egg, and so the water went inside the egg to dilute it. Hi everybody, I'm seeing some names here. Hey Apologia, hey Pat. Okay, so this is my egg, and if you remember, I also added a couple of drops of blue food coloring to my water because I just wanted to see if the food coloring would make it through this semi-permeable membrane. Remember, semi-permeable means it allows some things through, but not all things. In this case, it allows the water molecules to move in, but it doesn't let the egg molecules inside move out. And look at that, it's a blue colored, oh, just in time for Easter, a blue colored egg, but this is a squishy egg. That's because it has no hard shell. It's just got that thin membrane. So the next time you peel a hard-boiled egg, take a look and see if you can find that membrane just inside the shell. That's what this is right now, containing all of the egg material. And so some of the water went inside because it was a greater concentration of solutes on the inside. It's bigger than it was yesterday. I can feel it. I can feel it's a little bit tighter. It's not as squishy as it was. And you can actually do this many times for many days if you wanted to soak it overnight again in syrup and it'll shrivel. You can soak it overnight again in water after that and it'll get bigger and smaller until eventually we end up fatiguing this membrane and it pops. So have fun with that at home. It's just really fun. I'm sure a lot of you guys are having eggs around because we've been gathering what we can to use for food. This one you don't want to eat, okay? This is one you have to give up for the sake of science. But we can learn a lot of stuff with it. So this is my fun blue egg that we have with no shell on it that we soaked overnight in our blue colored water. All right. Well, I wanted to wrap up some of the things we've been talking about. We've been kind of focusing on botany, and we talked about how plants utilize energy from the sun. And so I wanted to wrap up our information by talking about this hamburger. Okay. All of our food that we take in for energy ultimately comes from solar energy, from the sun. And so I want to take all the components of this full hamburger, this loaded hamburger, and we're going to talk about how you can trace the energy path back to the sun. Okay, and kids, do this at home. The next time you're eating something, talk with your folks and see if you can translate everything that you're eating. If it's macaroni and cheese, the macaroni noodles, the cheese, the milk, all of the things that come from your food, how you can trace it back to the sun. So we're going to start with our bun. Okay, buns are made of bread, obviously, which we get from wheat. Wheat is a grain or a seed that grows on a plant. Well, plants photosynthesize, right? They get their energy from the sun. They take in solar energy, which is the energy from the sun, and then they use photosynthesis, a process inside the plants, to create sugars, glucose sugars, and that's how plants will grow. That's the food that plants get. And then we eat plants to get that food. So this can be traced back to a plant, which can then be traced back to the sun. Cheese is our next thing on our list. Okay, cheese comes from milk, which we get from a cow. The cow gets its energy from the grass that it eats, and grass is a plant, and plants get their energy from the sun. Okay, our next layer, let me open it up this way now, is the hamburger. Well, hamburgers come from cows, and cows get their energy from the grass that they eat, and grass is a plant which gets its energy from the sun. Let's flip this over. Onions. If you watched yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before? The days are blending together. I don't remember. Onions are a type of stem. Okay, they're not a root, they're a type of stem, but that's part of a plant. Plants get their energy from the sun. Tomatoes are a fruit that grow on a plant, which gets its energy from the sun. The lettuce is a leaf that is part of a plant that gets its energy from the sun. So all of these components of this hamburger are actually full of solar energy, energy that can be traced back to the sun. And so I love to say this, but solar energy tastes amazing. I'm gonna take a bite here. Of my solar energy. Yummy solar energy. So you guys do this at home. When you have your lunch today, I'm talking with my mouth full. I'm sorry. When you have your lunch today, trace back all the things you're eating, and you will find that it goes back to the sun. Okay? So hopefully that will help you. You'll never think of your lunch again in the same way as you did before. All right. So let's talk about the things we can do to take all this information and put it into a fun way to remember what we're doing. And so I like to use these little app books. Some of you may be familiar with this. This is something that's been around for years, but using little books that we can look back on for the units of information that we've done. So I take a regular folder. This is just a cardboard folder. And if we open it up, and then we're going to fold the folder inward like this, so that this line right here lines up with my center, like that. And then this line right here lines up with my center. Hold on, I'll hold it up so you can see it. And then we get like a tri-fold kind of a thing going on. Can you see how it opens up like this? Let me turn it this way. We opened up our folder. We took one side of the folder and folded it in half so that this line lines up with the center line, and then this line lines up with the center line. So when you close it like this, it makes pretty much the same size, but it's done in a way that you have some spaces now to put some little books on it. All right, really, really fun. Okay, so we're gonna make some little books now we can stick in this. And so one of the things that you're gonna need are some scissors, and maybe even a stapler or some tape. Glue is ideal too. If you have just some regular school glue, that would work. And so I'm gonna take my first one. These are different kinds of folds you can do with your paper. So I'm gonna take my paper. I just got regular 8.5 by 11 paper. If you have colored paper, it's fun. If you don't have colored paper, it's not a problem. I'm gonna cut it in half. I'm gonna get another color. I'll do this peachy color right here. No, let me do blue. I think blue will show up better. I have different colored papers here I'm gonna pull from. So I have blue now. I'm gonna cut this one in half. Okay, and so you're gonna stagger your paper. Let me move all of this away. You're gonna stagger your paper like this. Put one on top of the other and stagger it. And then when you fold your paper, you're gonna fold it so that, do you see how the end of the blue, I'm gonna make it so that the blue comes to right about here, and fold it again. And so let me just use a stapler because that works faster than glue. You could put a little dot of glue in that fold if you wanted, but I'm just gonna staple it just like that. And so now we have a little booklet with 4 pages. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You guys see that? And so you can take information that you're learning and put it on this little booklet. For example, think about the parts of a plant. We talked about there were 3 major parts of a plant, right? The roots, the stems, and the leaves. So you could write on the top here the 3 major parts of a plant. And then on this one, write the word roots and maybe draw a picture of the roots, or print out an image from the internet that cut it out and put a picture of a plant roots. And then the next one would be the stems, and then the last one would be the leaves. You could even use photos that you take and print those out and stick a photo of yourself holding those, the roots, the stems, or the leaves. And so this right here is a little booklet that has the 3 different parts of a plant. All right, and that's you could put other things on here as well, but this is one kind of paper fold you can do. All right, another one. Let's see. This is a little matchbook one I like that you can take. I'm gonna use another color. I'm gonna cut it kind of small. You can make these sizes as big or small as you want. This may be just, let's say you have a picture that you want to add, or you want to, this is a single image. So I'm gonna take this sheet of paper, and I'm not gonna fold it exactly in half. I'm gonna fold it just a little bit offset. So like this, and let me just hold, I'll put my hand under it. You can kind of see how it's offset, all right? And so then we're gonna take this little offset piece and fold it up. What this does is it creates a little matchbook, okay? And so you can put your information here, you can put something on the top, you can put some information or a picture here, hold it down, and this little flap comes up, and then you can write the title of what it is on the flap if you wanted. So this is a little matchbook fold that you can use. Lots of fun things to do with this. All right, let's see if we have some others. You can make, all right, this one's called a Dutch door. You can make an L shape. Let's do a Dutch door. I'm using my little cheat sheet over there. So I'm just using some old paper that I have, and I'm going to cut it in half this way. Let me cut off the part that has the hole in it. And then I'm gonna cut a little L. I'm just kind of doing this freehand. It's not real exact or anything. But then, if you have an L shape, you can fold it down and then fold this part. Let me fold it all the way down in half like this. The long part of the L is folded down, and this part can flip over, and you get kind of a Dutch door. This is another fun little fold that you can put some information here, open it up. You can see both sides here. You can open it up, and then you can see even more. And this gives you places to write things. Maybe you want to label, put your labels here with something here. Maybe you want to put something up here, and this Dutch door kind of hides it. And so then it just has something interesting there, and then you peek it open and you can see the rest of it down here. So this is another kind of fun paper fold. And we can take these, as we're doing these, you can take a glue stick, you can stick this one here, you can take our little matchbook and stick it here. You can take our folded book that has the multiple flaps, and you can do more than 4 flaps, but this one has 4, but you can put another sheet of paper on top of that and make 6, and you can go 8. You can put it here, you can put one on this side. You can take photos of the things that you've done. Maybe remember we did the leaf rubbing on Monday. You can take those leaf rubbings you did and stick one there, or you can decorate the front of your folder with those leaf rubbings that you did. If you did the egg, you can take photos of the egg that have been soaked in various conditions and take those photos and put them. Here's what it looked like after the syrup. Here's what it looked like after the water, and go back and forth with that. We did the penny experiment, and you can put the penny experiment. You can make illustrations of what it looked like. Put how many drops it took on the penny with the soap, without the soap. Let's see if there's any other. You can do just regular folds. Oh, and this is one of my favorites. Okay, I like to do this when we talk about a person. I like to make a little book. Here's one we did on Isaac Newton, okay? So if you have a person you're doing a biography on, or you're reading a story about anything, and there's a character in that story, even if the character is an imaginary character, you can either take a little photocopy of that character and cut their head out, or you can draw the head. You could actually do one all about mom, all about dad, all about somebody, and put their picture on top. And we just want their head. I have this one with Isaac Newton because he's got these amazing long tresses here, which really look cool. But what we do is we're basically gonna take a sheet of paper like this. Let me get a bigger sheet. Let me do an orange one that's big. Okay, here's my big orange one. 8.5 by 11. I'm gonna fold it down in half this way. Not widthwise, not lengthwise, so it's wide like this. And then I'm gonna take some scissors, and I'm pretty much just gonna cut what looks like a shirt. I'll cut a rectangle out of this side, and cut a rectangle out of this side. So it makes a T like this, okay? And then I'm gonna shorten my arm, or my sleeves, if you will. They're not really sleeves. This is gonna become actually the collar of my shirt. Do you see that? So I have this little T like this. And then we're just gonna fold those two down, and it makes a little collar. So you can take your head that you get of whoever. Let me see, I have a pen here. Let me just draw a head of a smiley face. I have to demonstrate, of course, right? Okay. And so I've got my little smiley face guy. See, I made a little smiley face. And I'm gonna take the smiley face guy and I'm gonna stick him right here, and you'll glue him here or tape him here, and then you put the collar around him and glue or tape that collar down. And then you've got a great place to write about that person, whether it's all about Isaac Newton or all about Dad or all about the character that you just read in this textbook or in this storybook. Maybe you watched a movie and you want to write something about the character in the movie. So you can do that like this. This is a really fun one to do when you have a person you're wanting to study. And so again, we can take all of those booklets and stick them in here, close it up, and we have a great little lap book. So really fun ways to document what your kids are doing. You know, I'm not doing this to make it like a curriculum for you to follow that you have to do everything, but I'm trying to give you guys some ideas of ways you can keep your kids active, things you guys can do on your own without mom or dad even. You can do this and have fun with it and make something just fun to look back on. Older ones, you can make these for the younger ones. You can actually use these for yourselves if you want. These are just really fun. You can actually make a list of the vocabulary words that you've learned this week. And what those definitions are. You can put that in here. You can extend this booklet. If you take a sheet of paper and glue it like this, now you have an extension of this flap that will fold in like that. Then you can write all your vocabulary words here. You can, anything, fun facts that you've learned, illustrations. And so this is just really a fun thing to do as you're trying to just remember what you've been learning and some of the fun stuff that you did. Use photos, take pictures as much as you can and print them out. Okay, and then let's see how we are with time. We're gonna wrap up, but I want to show you, I made a scavenger hunt sheet of the things that we talked about today. And so I'm gonna try to post this in the comments here, and I'm having a little technical difficulty because I'm not super technical when it comes to making PDFs and uploading them. But, oh, I see a lot of hearts. Okay, we're definitely gonna do this then. So this is a sheet that I came up with that based on the things we talked about. Going outside and making check marks, finding a leaf with parallel venation, finding a leaf with pinnate venation, looking at the different types of pollinators we talked about. You've got bees and birds and insects, finding a flower that has a scent, finding a flower that doesn't have a scent. And you can even add some on your own if you want on the back or on the sides of the paper. And so I'll put this up so you guys can print it out. And then maybe tomorrow, if we have time, I might come again on live. I know it's Saturday, but I might come on live just to do this too. You guys can do it along with me if you want. And so I'll come on live same time tomorrow, 11 o'clock, and we will go on a outdoor scavenger hunt and look for some of the things we talked about and mark them off. And then maybe we'll find some other things too. We live near a lake and we've got all kinds of cool birds that are nesting everywhere around here. We've got some woodpeckers that are forming a nest. We have a duck in a tree, believe it or not. And so maybe we can find those guys tomorrow too. So join me again tomorrow, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern time, and we will do our outdoor scavenger hunt together. I'm gonna put this in the comment, a link in the comments to this image so you can print it out at home. Thanks you guys for joining me.